Here we go.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Minister. Thank you, Deputy Ministers, for the work you do. Minister, the ink isn't even dry on President Trump's latest executive order of basically targeting Canada for 35%. Our steel and aluminum workers, they are scared. And yet here we have an opportunity to be able to fund here in Canada, the elbows up, Canada strong rhetoric that your government has been putting out. We can stop this loan by the Canada Infrastructure Bank, and we can go to the table with BC Ferries and plan to do it and support our steel and aluminum workers here and shipbuilders here in this country. Are you standing by the loan?
Well, we're waiting.
Thank you, Mr. Albus, for your question. And I do want to start by saying I know that the wildfires are touching your constituency. And I want to say I support you and your constituents, and the federal government is here to provide any support they need. I totally agree with you that this is a moment of crisis for the Canadian steel and aluminum sectors, and they need our government's support. They need our country's support. I was on the phone this morning with the CEO of one of our steel companies and was in touch with one of our union leaders, as well as talking to the CEO of C-SPAN. My approach right now is to ensure that in the areas under my control, the areas that Transport Canada has responsibility for, we are pushing for Canadian workers in the manufacturing sector and for the use of Canadian steel and aluminum. That's why I sent out 71 letters in June to all the agencies I'm responsible for. That's why I'm convening a meeting specifically ensuring that we are building ferries in Canada using Canadian steel, and why we'll be convening a meeting to do the same thing with the rail sector.
Minister, it sounds like you're comfortable with the loan going out and supporting effectively the outsourcing of Canadian jobs to subsidize them over in the People's Republic of China at a Chinese state-owned shipyard. And you're speaking of letters. I have your letter here dated June 16th, 2025, and it says, I am dismayed that BC Ferries would select a Chinese state-owned shipyard to build new ferries in the current geopolitical context. I ask you verify and confirm with the utmost certainty that no federal funding will be diverted to support the acquisition of these new ferries. Did you know that the Canada Infrastructure Bank was going to be funding $1 billion of taxpayers' money to the acquisition of these vessels when you wrote this letter?
So let me first take issue, if I may, with your opening comment.
I don't want to get into a big thing here, but I'm not sure if technically what you just said was actually an apology.
I am dismayed by this procurement. I have made that very, very clear. And it's not just rhetoric. I have acted. I'm the transport minister. I was and am aware that there is money that goes from transport operating support for the operation of ferries in British Columbia. It was very important to me to make formally clear an insistence that none of that operating money be used for this procurement, and I have received those assurances. Second of all, and as importantly, I am taking active steps to ensure that in going forward purchases of anything that Transport Canada has control over, we are putting a priority on Canadian manufacturing jobs, on Canadian steel, and on Canadian aluminum. We are not just talking about it, we are actually working to do it, and that is really important. And I have to say, I was very encouraged by the conversation I had today with C-SPAN. They're excited to be part of this work.
Minister, any accountant will tell you that an operating budget will have payment down of debt. So BC Ferries will be using some of the federal monies that it'll have in its operating budget for servicing the debt to the Canada Infrastructure Bank. So that's superfluous to this. But you are the senior minister of you and Minister Robertson. Are you going to say in cabinet, number one, we should cancel this loan in favor of steel and aluminum and shipbuilding here in Canada, yes or no?
What?
I have been very clear in my testimony today before the committee. in the House of Commons and in all my opportunities to speak formally about this, that I am disappointed by this procurement. And in fact, I think there is widespread disappointment across Canada with this procurement. In the areas that I'm responsible for as Transport Minister, I am ensuring that our procurement is favoring Canadian manufacturers, favoring Canadian steel and Canadian aluminum. That's why I sent out 71 letters in June to the agencies under my authority saying this is what we are going to be doing.
Right.
Minister, you have an opportunity to say no to this loan and to say yes to those conversations and put some heft behind it. It sounds to me you're like a ship sailing at night, seeing another one sail by, except those are our jobs going to China, to a shipyard that's owned and managed by the state. Minister, why aren't you saying, no, I won't support this loan? It's contrary to what the government's intentions are and what Canadians are asking for. Why are you picking the loan over your own letter?
I've been in politics for 12 years now, and I've been compared to many different things, but I think it's the first time I've been compared to a ship. No! But I've been compared to worse. And let me just say, Mr. Albus, that I am disappointed by this procurement. In the areas under my control as Transport Minister, I can assure you I am doing everything in my power to ensure that the agencies that Transport Canada is responsible for put a priority on Canadian manufacturing workers, Canadian steel and aluminum. And I just want to add, it's not just about statements. We have to work together, industry, all levels of government and unions, to be sure we have the capacity to use Canada's steel and aluminum. I am totally devoted to doing that.
Thank you.